Hello and welcome to today's morning movement mobility session. This is going to be 20 to 30 minutes of light movement mobility, a little bit of stretching, a few exercises to help you feel ready to tackle your day. So all you need is some space, maybe a yoga mat. And we're going to start this first circuit down on the floor. So find your way onto a carpet or the mat. And we're going to start with your forehead on the ground or just above the ground and your arms out at your sides with your thumbs pointing up. We're going to do a lift, then rotate your palms to face towards the ground and then bring your hands back down. So we're lifting up with our palms facing the ceiling and then we're lowering our arms with our thumbs pointing down. So you can go through this now at your own speed, trying to keep your arms directly out in a T position. You can have your forehead just off the ground for a little bit more upper back and neck engagement, or you can rest the forehead on the ground because we're really targeting the shoulder blades, thinking about pinching right in between as you lift, and also the rear delt, which is the back of the shoulder. Let's do one more, and then rest. Our second exercise in this circuit is going to be a hip circle in this hands and knees position. So make sure you grab extra cushion for your knees if you need it. And then have knees under hips and hands under shoulders. And then try to have a flat back, not arching or rounding, just right in the middle. And then you're going to take your knee and move it in a forward circle. This one takes a little bit of coordination, but you're just going to go at a controlled pace, bringing that knee back to the side, forward, and through that circle range of motion. And now the hard part, we're going to reverse that. So a little more coordination and backward circles. And if you happened to start with backward circles, as long as you do forward and backward, rest. That's what we're looking for. And now we'll move on to the other side. Potentially first doing a forward circle. We're working hip mobility with this one. It also engages your core and your shoulders a little bit. And now reverse. Just thinking about that knee going in as a controlled range of motion as you can. One more. And rest. And then the third exercise in this circuit, still on the floor, is going to be a glute bridge with a march. So find a comfortable position on your back with your hands just at your sides. And before we do this lift, we want to engage the core a little bit by just tightening those muscles a little bit, bringing the rib cage slightly down and tilting the hips slightly up. And then we're going to bridge up, lift one leg, lift the other, and then come back down. So it's a little bit of a combination glute bridge with the march. Taking your time, hips up, one foot up, and then the other. If that march were too much, you could just bridge and work on that hip extension. But if you can, add in that march. You don't need to lift the foot too high. We're working that hip extension by holding in that position on each single leg. One more time. And rest. All right, now like usual, we'll go through all three of those exercises one more time. So take your time getting onto the forward stomach position, trying to let your legs relax throughout this whole movement, and then finding your way to forehead, just off the mat, hands at the sides, and then lift up, rotate down, and then bring the arms back down. This time, focus on your breath during this one. Just trying to do a nice inhale, exhale, not holding your breath as you think about squeezing the shoulder blades as you lift. We'll do two more. And rest. Then bring yourself up to the hands and knees. For our second one, these hip circles. And on this one, it's totally okay if your knee doesn't come very far out to the side. Just work within your natural range of motion. So flat back, we'll start with a forward circle. Nice and controlled. Working that ball and socket joint where the head of the femur fits into the hip socket. And reverse. Might feel a little bit smoother than the first time, that's our goal. One more backward. And then shift. Get ready for the other side, and we'll go forward. And trying to make sure you're not holding your breath. And reverse it. Not too fast. And rest. And then find your way onto the floor for the glute bridge march. We'll take one breath in and out before we start. And then engage that core just a little bit before you lift up and raise one leg, then the other for that march. This one does take a little strength, working the glutes and the hamstrings to hold in this position. Often a lot of exercises overlap. They're not just a mobility exercise, they can involve strength, or a strength exercise can involve mobility or even stretching. So you get a lot of bang for your buck with different exercises when they fit multiple goals. One more. And rest. Wonderful. All right, our next circuit is going to be standing. So make your way on to your feet. And we're going to start off with some leg swings. So for this one, grab something to hold on to for balance. This is going to let you work the mobility of your leg even more. And then we're going to start with forward and backward swings. And then you don't need to turn around, you can just do the other side. And then we're also going to do side to side. So face whatever you're using to balance, and then when your leg is gonna swing out to the side and in front of your body. And then switch. And rest. Very good. Our second one is going to be a opposite star reach. So if you think of your legs as 2 points of the star and your hands as the other 2 points, we're going to have a wide stance, and then you're going to reach down towards your foot as you look up at your other hand that goes up towards the ceiling. You don't need to make contact with your foot, but you're reaching down. Maybe your legs stay straight. Maybe there's a little bend in your knee. That's up to you and how your hamstrings and adductors are feeling today. But what's important is that you look up at your top hand. That's going to open our chest up even further as you're reaching down. Again, soft knees if that feels better for you. We'll do one more each side at your own pace. And rest. And then our third one in this circuit is going to be shoulder circles from a standing position with your arms straight. And so for this one, a little bit of coordination, just like with the hip circles. We're going to bring our arms in a really big circle, bringing your shoulders up, back, down, and forward. We'll do one more this direction, and then we're going to reverse it. Might feel kind of funky. Bringing the shoulders down, back, up, and forward. It doesn't have to be a huge range of motion, just whatever range of motion you can control. And rest. Alrighty, and we'll take a moment and we'll go back to the top of this circuit with our leg swings. We're doing 6 forward and backward swings per side. So one more. And then other side. And we'll do the forward backward swings after these. Now face whatever you're using to balance. Bring the leg to the outside. You're not raising it too far to the side, just that natural limit. Last one. And other side. Excellent. Then bringing it back to that wide stance for the star reach. So for this one, give you just a little bit more of an angle. Reaching the arms wide as you look up at that top hand. Again, taking your time, controlling that range of motion. So you might notice sometimes we introduce new exercises, sometimes we repeat things. It's good to get that repetition with mobility exercises, but also to change the stimulus so that we constantly have to adapt. So that's why you'll notice sometimes You'll be familiar with an exercise, sometimes there'll be something new. Always finding that balance of variety plus consistency is a good target to hit. One more. Good. Alrighty, and then our third one here is going to be those shoulder circles. So again, first we're going to go backwards. So give you a front view to see shoulders lifting up and moving backward. Getting as much range of motion as you can without forcing it. And then we're going to reverse. And so backward, then up, then forward. Keeping your breathing steady. And rest. Very good. All right, we're bringing it back to a floor portion with a more familiar one with some cat-cows. So again, cushion for the knees or the hands. If you ever feel the hands and knees position too much into your wrists, you could always place a folded up towel underneath the heel of your hand like so to give it a little bit of a wedge and see if that helps. But for a cat-cow, we're simply going to round the back as much as you can and then arch the back, having your head go along for the ride as well, tucking the chin as you round and lifting as you arch. And this is one that it's really good not to force an excessive rounded or arched range of motion unless it feels good on your spine. But do make sure that you're having movement at the shoulder blades and at the hips. And rest. And then for our second one, we're going to do an active lying straight leg raise. So this one, you're going to start with arms down and legs straight in front of you. And then whatever foot you use first, I'm going to use my left. I'm going to flex my foot to make an active leg. And then I'm going to bring that toe as far towards my face as I can. We're going to do the same side by itself before we switch. So again, that foot stays flexed, not pointed. And you just really actively raise and lower it. And what we mean by active is it's engaged. So there's a way to do this with a really relaxed leg, but you're trying to flex that foot, squeeze your quad, and switch sides so that it's a really active raise and lower. Good. Breathing. You might notice it's natural for your core to engage a little bit to help keep the body really straight. One more for the right side. And rest. All right, and we get rewarded with a stretch after that one. Gonna do a lying glute stretch. So cross your ankle over your knee and then reach around your leg and through the inside of that triangle that you make to either pull, holding onto the hamstring or the front of the shin. Taking a nice breath in and exhale. And then switch sides. totally normal to feel a little difference side to side, especially with this stretch, but also in any mobility exercise. That's why it's good to work each side or have each side work independently. And it's definitely okay to do a few extra reps on whatever side you perceive as a little weaker or a little more limited in range of motion. And rest. Alrighty, we're going to repeat that circuit one more time through, going back to that cat-cow on your hands and knees. And when you're ready, just going at your own pace. On one rep, pay attention to your hips. On the next, pay attention to your spine and your upper back. And on the next, pay attention to your neck and your head. You can kind of repeat that checklist as you go through each rep. At least it's a way to entertain yourself. And make sure you're hitting all the parts that you want to hit with this one. One more. Wonderful. Then find your way onto your back for that active straight leg raise. Nice comfortable position, hands down, legs extended. And then choose what leg you want to go first, flexing that foot. Bring the toe as far towards your head as you can without forcing it. Just keeping that whole lift and lower really smooth. Trying to engage those muscles in the leg. One more for this side. And switch, flexing the foot as you lift. Maybe you're able to keep your leg really straight. Maybe you're using quite a bit of a bend at the knee. It might look more like this. That's totally okay. That's just your hamstring flexibility, and it will improve over time. And rest. Then cross that ankle over your knee, reach through for that glute stretch, either holding the front of the shin or the hamstring, depending on how tight your glute and hips are feeling today. You can always leave that foot on the ground if even this felt like a pretty big stretch. And then switch sides. And take a big breath in. And let it out. Maybe pulling that knee just a little bit closer to you if that feels okay. And then releasing it. Alrighty, we are almost done, but we're gonna hit just one more stretch for the upper and the lower body. First, we're gonna do a tricep stretch. So I'm grabbing the back of my elbow as I bring that hand down my back. I'm not pulling too intensely, just whatever's comfortable. And then drop your arms and get the other one. Again, that hand kind of just reaching down your back. And then drop the hands. And then we have a little hamstring stretch that's going to be active. I'm going to slightly bend my planted leg and then have this other heel on the ground with toes lifted. And then you're gonna reach towards your toe and come back up, bending in to this knee to let yourself stretch. If you needed some balance support, you could certainly grab on, bending at the knee, reaching towards that toe, keeping the back as flat as you're able to. And switch sides. One foot right under you, one heel forward with the toes lifted. Back stays flat as you bend into that knee, keeping the front leg straight. And rest. Very good. We're going to repeat those one more time, just these last two. So that tricep stretch, just gently pulling on that elbow. Trying to stay really nice and tall with this stretch, not arching too much at the back either. And then drop your hands, bring that other elbow up towards the top of your head. And then drop the arms. And one more time with this hamstring stretch. One foot right underneath you, other leg forward. I bend into the leg of the foot that's close to me, keeping a flat back as you stretch down. One more this side. And switch. Two more for this side. And rest. All right, well done. Hopefully you feel a little bit warmer, ready to tackle whatever you have going on today. Maybe you're heading into a strength workout or a little bit of cardio. As always, share this workout with a friend if you enjoyed it, and find more of this type of exercise and movement over on HelloStrengthSeniors on Instagram. And we'll see you next Tuesday.